Hello and welcome to another YouTube video. In today's video, I'm going to take you through what is content, how to really understand it, and how to make it work for you. A lot of you may be starting your account for the first time, looking at content creation and being intimidated by the idea of having to post every single day. And let me tell you, the algorithm rewards consistency and showing up and driving valuable content for your audience. Today, we're going to break down how to do both of those things with a consistent strategy that avoids burnout, but also gives you an opportunity to create relevant and engaging content for your audience. As we begin, the first thing we're going to ask ourselves is, what is content? Now, content is really just ideas. It is about ideation, and it's about bringing great ideas to market. So when I think about this, what is content creation? Really, content creation is the storytelling of these ideas. It is the way that we market and bring these ideas to an audience. Now, storytelling really has two components: the idea and the execution. So firstly, what makes a good idea? Now, a good idea is relevant and engaging to the target audience. And relevant can be defined as closely connected or appropriate to what is being done or considered. Now, engaging can be defined as charming and attractive. If we nail both of these, we have a good idea. So where do we get ideas from? Now, firstly, we can get ideas from internal ideation, and we'll be touching on that today. The second place we can get ideas is from external ideation, and we'll also be touching on that today as well. What I'm going to take you through is my idea hierarchy. Now, this is incredibly important to understand, and we're going to start right here at the bottom, which is ideas for your content. Now, the most obvious place where you could source ideas from your content is from other model creators, right? We could pull from existing people on the platform and we could look at what ideas they're bringing to market, take those ideas and then put them in our own words and create ideas for our own content. But the question begs, where do your model creators get ideas from? Now, maybe, just maybe, they get it from other model creators, and we have this closed loop where model creators are just copying model creators. But at some point, the ideas must have existed off the Instagram platform. And that's where we go up the layer of ideation. We could have blogs, Reddit posts, Quora, any of the written platforms. We could have podcasts. We could have long form videos like YouTube videos. We could see some analytics and data that's being presented to us. We could see courses, webinars, or workshops, may they be online or in person. Next, we could have LinkedIn posts, X or Twitter. We could have Pinterest, Instagram, TikTok, all the other short form platforms. Ideas are circulating on these platforms and they could be adopted and taken into Instagram. Now, above that, we have books. And the reason I put books above the other levels of the ideation is because books take longer to produce. They aren't like a YouTube video or a podcast that can just be created in an hour or a day or a week. Books take normally months, a longer form of ideation, and more refined ideas come from there. Above that, some books are supported by research papers, so that can be another great source of ideas. As we get studied empirical truth, those ideas are brought to market as they're tested in science as hypotheses that become true or false, and those ideas can filter down into our books, into our YouTube videos, all the way down to our model creators. Now, at the very top, we have two sources of ideas. We have life experience and we have scriptures. Now, when I say scriptures, I don't just mean in the biblical sense. Scriptures are the overarching godfather papers within our given niche. If I take an example of a scripture that you may not probably see as a scripture, it would be Ben Patrick and Charles Poliquin. So Ben Patrick is an incredibly successful short form and long form creator who really created this philosophy, or not created the philosophy, which is the key part of how it links to Charles Poliquin, but he adopted a lot of the practices that Charles Poliquin took in his godfather-like scriptures on knees over toes training and general athleticism, and he put those into engaging short form content. So he took the core ideas from Charles Poliquin from an agreed upon scripture that he read and adopted and built engaging short form with it. So he used the relevant ideas that were coming from Charles Poliquin into an engaging short form video. Various religious scripts where the core beliefs and idea structures are still applicable in today's society. Those are what I refer to as scriptures, and nearly every niche has its own scriptures. If I think of yoga and some of the ancient yoga teaching, in there it has its own scriptures as well. And I think being able to understand those and interpret those in your own words and then educate people at scale, aka create content through them, is going to make you even more valuable as a storyteller, because you're going to the source of where those stories have come from. You're not taking an adopted idea from a model creator or from a YouTube video or from a book. You're going to the very top source. So what I recommend doing is when you see an idea, for example, on the platform by a model creator, ask where it came from. See if you can link it to maybe a YouTube video, a podcast, maybe some analytics or data, a course, a webinar, and then ask where that came from. See if you can link it to a book, a research paper, and at the very highest level, a scripture. Ultimately, all of the ideas today already exist out there. We do not need to teach new ideas. We need to remind people of the old winning and relevant ideas. And that's incredibly important as a content creator, because as a content creator, you are an educator on this platform. This is where I talk about true creativity, which true creativity involves combining, reinterpreting, and reimagining existing ideas and elements in unique ways, rather than solely inventing them from scratch. So my suggestion to you is find your scriptures, a knowledge of source for good ideas, ideally in a format that doesn't already exist on short form. You need to push yourself to interpret these from a written format into a visual one. These could be from books, podcasts, journals, YouTube videos, scriptures. Just find a source of ideas that isn't yet on the platform. This is going to enable you to have effortless ideation, because you're pulling from a bank of knowledge that is either agreed upon or you can easily access and interpret onto the platform. Again, your job as a teacher. The best teachers out there take complex ideas and put them in layman terms, aka they put them in terminology that is easy to understand. Now, the second half is going to be execution. So how do we execute on short form? Now, I'm going to show you 3 types of short form storytelling.
Hi, I'm Alfie Robertson, and 12 months ago, I decided to start documenting my journey. 75 days to lock in, remove alcohol, the catalyst for most of my mistakes, lack of productivity, and underachievement. Training twice per day, eating only real food, prioritizing my sleep, and arguably the most important, posting every single day, no matter what. 12 months later, and I couldn't have scripted it better myself. I'm now making it my mission to show people that living your dream life is possible, and social media can be a force to good when it's put in the right hands. DM me, creator, to get started today.
As you can see, there are 3 main types of storytelling. Now, the best storytelling out there combines visual, verbal, and written, and I'll go into how you sandwich those together later on. But visual storytelling in itself allow you to combine a visual, a verbal, and a written in a very appealing and engaging way. We have examples of a hook and a montage. That's where the first 3 seconds draws the reader in, and then there is a montage of scenes after, hook and split screen, montage, and contrast. These are great for day in the life, day of eats, visual change, before and afters, good and bad. Anything that is quite a simple idea that can be shown visually can be used and utilized through these storytelling methods. Next, you have verbal storytelling. These could be piece to camera, could be A-roll, B-roll, quotes, or a voiceover. Now, these are better for more complex ideas, day in the life, day of eats, educational content, complex explanations, reaction videos, comment responses, and just general storytelling about who you are and what you do. Reason being is if we compare verbal to visual storytelling, you're going to be able to get across more complex ideas in a more coherent way. Lastly, we have written storytelling. This one's often overlooked on the platform, but can be incredibly powerful. And I'm sure you've all been scrolling when you've seen read the caption style videos. Now, why written storytelling performs so well is a lot of people are coming from X, LinkedIn, Facebook, which are written platforms. And we often forget that a lot of people learn through reading rather than just the visual elements of the platform. So this tells a story, whether that's on screen or in the caption or a combination of both. And I would adhere everyone here to make use of your caption. There's a famous quote which says, 50% of my marketing budget is useless. I just don't know which 50% it is. Creating content is very similar. There's probably some element of your reel that is completely wasted and useless. We just don't know what part it is. So therefore, I encourage you to maximize all areas of your reel, both your caption, the visual formats that you use, and the verbal formats that you use. Combined together is what creates really powerful storytelling. Written storytelling structures are perfect for silent viewers, accessibility, or just structured info that you want to put in front of them. I find it very useful to do an education overload in a way, putting a lot of information down and then having a simple call to action to my lead mag where they can access the PDF or document that I've shown them in a very fast manner. It allows you to provide a lot of information up front and pushes them to inquire more about where that information is sourced and what information and value they could derive from you. Now, to be a great content creator, you need to have effortless ideation, pulling from a great source of ideas, and you need to have simple and effective storytelling. You need to know how to execute visual, verbal, and written storytelling at the touch of your fingertips. The only bottleneck should be what new idea are you pulling, and once you have effortless ideation, that should be overcome as well. Too many people get stuck in the execution phase and struggle to know how to execute the ideas that they have. This is exactly why I created my 7-day challenge. Inside this 7-day storytelling challenge, you're going to be challenged to make visual, verbal, and written storytelling style content. I'm going to equip you with everything you need from templates, scripts, and custom GPTs to ensure that you can create this content with ease. You'll end the 7 days being equipped with how to execute effortless content. The idea here is that you'll be inside my community. You'll have access to my content coaches, including myself, who will give you direct feedback over the 7 days. If you would like to sign up, I'm gonna leave a link below in the bio. In here, we're gonna take you through from understanding your USP, aka what makes you unique, understand your ICP, your ideal customer profile, working through how to really understand ideation, most of what I went through today, and then how to execute on those ideas across 7 days of storytelling. Day 1, we're gonna start with a piece to camera. This is probably the most scary piece of content that you will create, but it allows you to tell your story, introduce yourself to the viewer, and break down that first initial fear of what it's like posting online. Next, I'm going to show you visual storytelling. You'll be provided with a template and create a daily vlog. After that, we have written storytelling. You're going to be doing a value drop, which I'll provide the guidelines for. Then we move back to verbal, visual, and verbal. And then finally, on the 7th day, it will be your choice. Each step of the way, we will be reviewing and auditing your content, and you'll be inside my small challenge community. In here, you'll get direct access to me and my content coaches, and it will give you an opportunity to at least dip your toes into content creation. My purpose is to lower the barrier to content creation and let more people experience what it's like to create on the platform. I truly believe Instagram is a net positive if you're creating. It allows you to connect with like-minded people and put yourself out there in a creative way, but it's net negative if you're just consuming on the platform. If you'd like to start creating and join me for the 7-day challenge, click the link below and you can access it today. And I can't wait to see you on the inside.